All right, welcome back. This is part 9. We're going to be putting laminate on in this episode. So I got my covering iron here. It's set to, I don't know, somewhere right around 300 degrees. Um, this is kind of well used. I've had to remove the scuffed up black Teflon coating and really polish that down smooth. You get these for pretty cheap, probably like 15 bucks at online. Just look for covering iron, you know, like a Hanger 9 or Hobbico covering iron, something like that. I have one of the other style here. So, oh yeah, here we go. This is a really old one here, but you know, this is another version of it. Got a knob here. I don't know how accurate the temperature settings are on there, so I have a IR temperature gun that I check the temperatures with. This is laminate. I usually just iron it on at, you know, somewhere right around 300. If your iron's kind of dragging on it, it feels gummy, you're probably too hot. Shouldn't really be dragging too much on it. But it's laminate that came in the box, the kits that I got. So there's a million different ways out there that people are laminating. It's kind of an experience-based thing, so do whatever is comfortable for you. If this is your first time, then don't worry about it. It's not a big deal if you get a wrinkle or a crease or something like that in the laminate. Might not look great, but it'll fly just fine. One thing you do want to ensure at this stage is that you're using both sides of the wing bed. That will absolutely ensure a straight wing. Okay, so I always start with the bottom of the wing. I laminate both sides of the bottom, and I flip it over, change to the bed of the bottom of the wing beds, and when you laminate just the bottom, it's going to stiffen it up a little bit. But as soon as you laminate the top, that locks the wing in torsionally, you know, in twist. So that's why it's critical to do everything in the beds. I mean, really, you could probably do the bottoms first outside the bed. It's not a big deal, but doing it in the bed's just it's just a foolproof way of getting a straight wing. I'll go over, if I remember, some tips and hints and stuff at the end. If you do have a little bit of a twist, there's some tricks that you can do. But so, anyways, cut out my laminate here. The matte. You'll notice that the laminate has a glossy side and a matte side. I don't know how well you can see that in the camera there, but the matte side is the sticky side. So I think that's kind of how I had it. So I overlap in the middle for the entire center section, because the center section usually sees quite a bit of abuse and you know, on landings and stuff. So I make sure to put double layer of laminate in the middle. After we're all done laminating, I also put another layer of laminate on the leading edges. It feels like 3mm laminate. If you really want, you can get 5mm, but on a wing like this, it's just going to be extra weight. It's not really going to provide a lot. So, all right. So what I usually do is I start in the middle of the wing, and I just press it down. I tend to avoid dragging the iron, because that's when you kind of introduce wrinkles and creases and stuff into it. So I usually, at this stage, when I'm just starting to stick it down, I don't drag the iron at all. I just press it down, and I just let it sit there for about 5 seconds or so. And you press down pretty good on it. Okay, now I just kind of very lightly set the iron down and very lightly push towards the leading edge, and then just press down. And you just want to rock it back and forth. Make sure you're applying heat evenly. This laminating film is meant to go through a laminating machine with, you know, really hot rollers and apply a lot of heat and pressure at the same time. In this application, if you'll remember, we put that 3M90 down before the paint. So we want to get plenty of heat down through the layers and really fuse the the laminate to the paint, and fuse the paint to the 3M90 and make sure the 3M90 is bonding to the foam. So this is kind of a, you know, take your time here. And now when I'm going back, I want to make sure that you don't want to stick this to the elevons yet, okay? Just to the wing. I don't know if you can see it here, but the elevons are kind of bent out of the way. One thing sometimes I do is I come back and I trim the back edge of the beds off just to allow the elevons to bend down. See that? Okay. I'll do the other side. Scraps off to the side. Line back on the bed. And now I think you can see there, I can bend that elevon right back and come right up to the edge of the wing core with the iron without risk of adhering the laminate to the elevon yet. I don't want to do that yet. We will do that very shortly. But for now, I'm laminating under the core. I found that laminating over ABS, like this battery bay floor here, can be a little bit tricky. It tends to soak up a lot of heat. So just do your best. The laminate is not going to add a tremendous amount of additional strength to the battery bay floor like it will to the rest of the airframe. You notice when it's starting to, you know, you hit this laminate, it goes from like a cloudy to a clear, so you can tell where it's not stuck or where it's not adhering well yet, because it's still kind of cloudy. Sometimes, I mean, you can, if you lift it up and just hit it, it'll go clear too, but for the most part, if you see like you can see at the leading edge there, how it's still kind of cloudy. Well, obviously, you know, the iron hasn't been there yet. No, I think I hit the, yeah, see, I stuck it to the bed there just a little bit. That's alright though. Just peel that off. So I cut my laminate so that it was, I don't know, maybe like an inch bigger than the overall wing size. Sean's shipping a lot of laminate in these kits, more than you need, just so you have a little bit of extra. When I first started getting into wings, I kept a lot of those scraps because it's great for, like, if you have to make a repair, or another use is on the other side for the servo channels. If I remember, I'll put the servos in before I laminate it. If I forget, then I have to cut through the laminate, and then I just take a strip of that scrap and just cover right back over it. Okay, so I'm gonna try my best to do this on camera. I'm gonna wrap around the leading edge, but once I get to this point, I take it out of the bed for right now. Okay, I'm gonna take my knife and I'm gonna go, I don't know, maybe like a ½ inch or so ahead of the leading edge, and I'm gonna trim all the excess off. Okay. Shorted myself up here on the nose a little bit, but that's all right. We'll work around that. And in the center section here, well, on the tip, that's all excess. Let's get this leading edge stuck down here first. Okay. So when you're doing this part, you just want to be careful you don't run that hot iron up onto the paint, because it can damage like that. It didn't really go on the paint there, but it just kind of slipped on me. It'll damage the paint. You get it on the iron, you have to clean your iron off, which is kind of a pain in the ass. So at the edges here too, you want to kind of just make sure it's really adhered well to the edges. Okay, now that's stuck on there pretty good, so we can just trim that part off, the wingtip anyways. Oops, the foam came with that one. Okay. And then after you trim that off at the edge, you just want to run your iron there like that. Again, don't go onto the elevon yet here, okay? Lift this up and maybe. Oops. Okay, so now we're going to do the elevons, okay? So what I do is I take the elevon like this and I fold it completely over. You see that? All right, and then you could take a laminate and you fold that over too. See that? Okay. Now you come right up to the edge and you just rock your iron right over the edge. Okay, so we're sticking it onto the back edge of the core there. And then once that's done, we're going to rock it up to the leading edge of the elevon. Okay. All the edges. Now, at this seam right here, you're going to want to make a slit there because it's going to be a pain in your ass if you don't. Okay, so just make a slit there. Let's bend this back over. Now you notice that the elevon, because now we put that laminate on there, the laminate's adding like a force to push that elevon up and over. Don't worry about that right now. When we put it on the top, what we're going to do is bend the elevon down all the way and put laminate on there, and then it'll be pretty neutral all on its own. Okay, so I'm going to trim some excess off here. I'm going to leave about 1 inch. All right. And still with the elevon folded over just to make it easy. Just take your time. Pull on the laminate so that you're pulling all the wrinkles out as you go. Okay. And so anywhere there's a corner, you want to make a slit. All right, so I'm going to make a slit there, and then I got my where the trailing edge comes and makes a turn here somewhere. I don't know, about right there. So okay, and then again at the wingtip. Okay, and then there. And then at the root again. Okay. piece off. Okay, now, so with this piece here, just pull it tight as best you can. And just bring the iron up and over the edge. Rock it over that edge along the whole length of it. I'm going to cheat a little bit here. The elevon here keeps wanting to fold up on me, so it's just making a little bit of a pain in the butt. So just use a couple small pieces of tape to hold the elevon there from turning up too much. Okay. Now it can't roll up towards the top on me. Kind of sometimes you need like 3 hands, you know what I mean? Okay. I think my iron is, see how the lights are blinking? I don't know what the hell that means, but I'm concerned it might be cooling off on me for some reason. So what you want to do at this point is just trim. What I do is I trim the laminate flush with the top edge of the wing at this point with my huge scissors. I think my old man got these from a fabric shop somewhere, some factory or something. He was notorious for getting tools that way. He claims it was in an abandoned place, but who knows? Oh well. A nice big scissors. So you can kind of see how I've got it right at the on the back edge there. So the top is going to come back, and same thing. It's going to go back on the back edge, and so there's going to be an overlapping piece of laminate there. And it's going to lock it in there on the trailing edge, right? So here you want to do your best to fold in any corners. Okay, this bottom piece here, I'm holding that out of the way for right now. This is kind of like covering like this is kind of, yeah, you know what? I think my iron is cooling off. Maybe not. Find out as I go. Your first laminate job, you know, probably won't look too great, but it's a practice thing. It's a learned skill. Yeah, my iron's cooling off, so I don't know what's wrong with it. I like this iron too. This one here, you can, compared to that other one, this is the other one here, the other style. It's got this metal, this stamped rolled metal piece. You see the seam there? So right here at the base, there's only like half of that diameter. So when you're pressing on it, you're putting a lot of bending stress right there at that point. And I've got a whole box of these up there that are broken right there. I just keep them for spare parts. This one, on the other hand, has this composite reinforced plastic stock here that is just bulletproof. I like the shape of the shoe on this iron better. It's a little bit more expensive though. And it's got a, I believe it's blinking because it's all pulse width modulation controlled temperatures, versus the other one is kind of like an on-off with a thermistor. You can hear it clicking and turning on and off. So the temperature on this one's a much more even, steady temperature versus the other one might be, you know, up and down right around the set point. So while that's heating back up, maybe it just went into some kind of fail-safe, I don't know. While that's heating back up, I'm going to finish trimming off my my laminate. So at this corner here, I come at a 90-degree off of this one, because I'm going to take almost all that material and wrap it up to cover this edge right here, right? And this material here is not going to get put on, so I'm going to trim that off flush. That's where the motor mount's going to go. And you want to glue the motor mount to the foam, not to the laminate over the foam. And I think in the next episode here, once we get the laminate done, we'll be doing the motor mount. Okay. All right, so we're green again. See, green. Does that to me occasionally, and I haven't figured out why. And I may just go and get a new one. I think this is all it says is just Hanger 9 on there, on this one. So best I can figure, it's a Hanger 9 brand. I see them on, like they use these irons for real airplanes too when they're putting on shrinkable, heat shrinkable fabric covering on some of the old airplanes, old real airplanes. And that's where that one came from. My father used to do all that stuff. So it's not a young iron by any stretch. Oops, trimming off some of my paint there. Oh well. It's going to look great once it's fine. So at the root of the elevon here, you just want to be sure that you don't have any crossed over and crossed up laminate that would prevent the surface from moving smoothly and nicely, okay? So I'm just going to okay, so I just got a little bit that I want to clean up here, right there. And anytime I clip off, I always go back in with the iron and just roll it over and hit it again. Make sure it's all nice and stuck down well. Even on the back edge here where I trimmed that off, I just want to make sure it's all stuck down well. And the tip of the elevon. Okay, so on the nose here. All right, that side's done. I think I'm going to do the other side off camera, and we'll come back when we start the top side.